All right, hey guys, this is going to be a combined call tonight for the Team Fit Life Warriors, which Rachel and I are leaders of, as well as we invited the Commit crew to join us tonight. So, welcome everyone. I am Jen Yancey, and this is Rachel Baldridge right there. And we basically, I just wanted to do an interview with Rachel because she has just been doing a phenomenal job since she became a coach, and she's really figured out how to tap into her market, and she's doing some amazing things. And I just wanted to do a Q&A with her about what exactly she's doing. I mean, I am her coach and I want to know what she's doing. Let's be honest. So with that said, I'm going to give you a little bit of background on Rachel, and then I'm going to let her take it away and tell more about her story. So a year ago, I signed up as a coach, and my coach, who's also a Commit Crew member, Gina Simpson, she basically challenged me to become an Emerald coach pretty quick. So I signed up my husband, and I signed up Rachel. I paid for Rachel's coach membership for like 3 months. Something like that. And she did not want any part of it. So she basically asked me, how can I get out of it? And is it going to cost me anything? That was basically the gist of that. So hold on, I'm going to make sure I have everybody muted. So with that, so basically, you know, I paid for her for a couple months, and then she decided, well, I forced her to go to the first, my first Super Saturday in January of this year. And I really did feel like I had to drag her to it. She was like, I don't have time. I can't do it. And I really think that was her trait, like that was her point of where she realized that this could be something. And she's been such an amazing self-starter. I mean, that first, couple months, of course, we were both new to Beachbody. We were learning as we were going. We were teaching each other. And she's been a great self-starter, and she's just taken off. And so, Rachel, I really want you to talk about what changed for you, that you went from me paying for your coach account, and then you deciding that you wanted to be a coach. Did you have that aha moment kind of thing?
Okay. So first off, I almost didn't go to Super Saturday because I really wanted to get my hair done. And I was like, you know what? Jennifer would be really mad at me if I didn't go. And I cannot say enough how that Super Saturday was the turning point for me in my business. Up to that, the 3 months leading up to that, I was just basically wandering in the coaching world. I was like kind of talking to people I wasn't inviting. I was just sharing my journey on social media. And that was more of an accountability standpoint for me and my journey so that I wouldn't give up like I had done every other time that I tried. And so it wasn't until that Super Saturday and I sat back and I was watching honestly, it was the community of friends that I saw there. It was the speakers, it was the things I heard, and it was like a light bulb clicked in that moment. And I said, okay, I don't know what I need to do, but I need to do it. And so Super Saturday was my aha moment, but the real day that it was a game changer moment for me was that next month when it was Team Cup. I don't know if Maria's on here, but she was my Team Cup captain for February with Jennifer. We were both on her team, and I was so overwhelmed that month, but it was the push that I needed for me to believe in myself and to know that I was capable of achieving the goals that I set for myself, and that the only one that was holding me back was me. So my aha moment was definitely Team Cup and Super Saturday for sure. Before that, I was just, honestly, a little piece of my story is I was a mom who was very anxious, uncomfortable in her own skin, very depressed, and Beachbody gave me the opportunity to have friends that supported me, to feel loved, and to learn to love myself again, really, is what it boils down to. And I fell in love with the products and then fell in love with the business at Super Saturday and Team Cup.
Awesome. So my first question tonight is going to be about your challenge groups. So for most of you, you're not going to know. Well, I mean, if you're Fit Life Warrior, then you'll know. But for most of you may not know that Rachel and I, we have a joint challenge group where we co-lead. Basically, we alternate months. And then we also have separate challenge groups that we also lead. And basically how that began was that when Rachel signed up as a coach, when she first started on her journey, I was leading my very first challenge group, and I wrangled her into that challenge group. And
Forced.
And I think that's really where part of the love fell for that, that community. And then, when she decided to become a coach, she was kind of nervous, like I think all coaches are in the beginning, about leading their own challenge groups and what that looks like. And so I said, well, why don't you just lead this challenge group for 1 month and see how it goes? So she was adding people into the challenge group, and I was adding people. And then it became this amazing community. And the next month, or maybe 2 months later, we were like, okay, well, she's going to go on to do her own coaching. I'm doing my own coaching. It's time we need to split up this big group. And honestly, a lot of our challengers had a problem with it. They really loved this community that we had created. And so we just decided to keep co-leading. I mean, it's had its ups and downs, but honestly, it has been an amazing thing to be able to work as a team. But like I said, so we have this big group, and then we have our each individual group. So Rachel, I want you to talk about what has been because our group is amazing. It's so interactive, and there's a ton of people in there who talk and communicate. So can you talk a little bit about what is the challenge group so successful about? Well, how is it so successful?
Sure. Yeah. I think one of the things that coaches really get discouraged with, particularly in the beginning, is starting a challenge group and nobody comments and nobody says anything and everybody is like silence. And so there are a lot of steps behind the scenes that have to happen in order to make a challenge group successful. And Jennifer and I have actually done an entire tutorial, which we can share in the Commit Crew. I know Fit Life already has it, but the Commit Crew, we did an entire just challenge group tutorial. So I'm not going to go into all that. But I will say that you take it back down to the basics. You have to truly invest in your challengers behind the scenes with your challenge groups. And that takes a lot of time. And that is one of the hardest things for me to manage sometimes, is the constant messaging. Because at any given point, I've got 15 messages in my inbox to talk to somebody about. But behind the scenes messaging is huge. I will say that if someone shares an update on how they're doing, I ask them to share it in the group, because 9 times out of 10, if they're struggling, there's probably 5 other people in the group who are struggling too. And the whole reason that we have a community is to share the burden of the journey and to share the victories of the journey. Go live in your group. I'm going to talk about that live video. I know Megan's another person that's mastered the live video, but so many people are so scared of it. And I can't tell you what it has done for my relationships with my challengers and with my relationships with my network and my cold market. And we'll talk about that later. But so go live and do flash challenges. These are interesting ways to get your challengers engaged. So flash water challenges. Do a jumping jack challenge, but at random at any point when they're not expecting it, because we have daily assignments set for every day ongoing. So we run this group every single day. At the beginning of the day at 6 a.m., there's a post that goes out with an assignment in it, meant to engage people to think about their goals. So every day has a theme, and none of the days are the same. The only one that's the same is Thankful Thursdays, because I'm just kind of biased to that. I have to have my Not So Victory Day because I think it's just so good. But have flash challenges where you challenge somebody to drink 15 ounces of water before 10 a.m. or whatnot. It just keeps people engaged and interested in finding new ways to pique their attention, I guess. So we will share that challenge group tutorial in the Commit Crew, and we'll probably, okay, Megan says yes, please. So we'll definitely do that. And as you guys have questions, please put them in the thread, and we'll go over them at the end too. All right, so that's all on challenge groups. Challenge groups are the bread and butter of my business. So please know that from up front. That is if you're not running a challenge group, you're going to have a really hard time engaging and getting constant relationships with your network. It would be completely impossible if I didn't have that. Plus, I love them. They're like my family. So that's all.
Okay, so the next question is, I know everyone's going to want to know what your non-negotiables are.
Yes. Okay. So I have daily non-negotiables, and then I have monthly non-negotiables. So my daily non-negotiables, just real quick, are and these numbers, if you're a hobby coach, are going to scare you. So this is focused to the business builder. If you're looking to replace your income and be a full-time coach, these are the daily activities that it has taken to get me to this point. So a minimum, this is going to scare you, a minimum of 5 to 10 invites every single day. And that's, you don't go to bed any day without sending out 5 invitations. And these aren't really ever for me dry messaging people. This is usually relationships I've been investing with along the way, which leads me to my next one. I'm making 15 contacts with someone else's page at any given point in time. So throughout the day, I'm commenting on 15 different profiles. Because what that does, especially with Facebook's new algorithms and all their changes, when you're engaging with other people's page, your content goes higher up in their news feed. So when they log on to Facebook and they're scrolling, they're going to see the things that you're putting out there instead of if they're just on your, and let me say this. When I started as a coach back in January, I had 300 friends. So I did not have a giant market. I did not have a huge warm market. And now my friend list is almost at 2,000. And that's been intentionally growing my network every single day. So that's the next one. I'm adding 10 new people to my network every single day. And a recommendation on how to do that, because that seems so scary, especially for new coaches. It's like, oh my gosh, these are people I don't know. And I'm going to say this, if you want to do this full time, you're going to have to put your fears aside, stretch outside your comfort zone, and make new friends. Some of these people might be your best friends in the whole world, and you just don't know it yet. And so I started by going through my challengers, and Alice and Carrie can both attest to this. I went through my challengers' friends, and when they posted on a picture, I would go through, say Alice, for example, I would go to Alice's picture and I would add 10 people on her friends list. I would go to Yvette's profile and I didn't actually do that, just FYI, but I would go to her profile and add 10 people from that profile. And I started with people that I knew, that I liked, that I vibed with. So someone in your everyday life that you're like, okay, I get that person. Then go through and add every single one of their friends and grow your network, because that's the only way. I will say that I am so far out of my warm network, and I have been for probably 3 to 4 months. I maxed out those 300 friends real quick. And so I would say probably from maybe April on, I've been entirely cold market. And now when I say cold market, it means these are new people that I have to build relationships with. So daily non-negotiables: invite 5 to 10 people, expand your network by 5 to 10 people, connect with 15 profiles. This one is key. Reach out to 5 customers. So 5 people that have bought a program or in your challenge group in a private message. Continuing that relationship because you want to be invested in their journey. And you're going to find that they're going to be return customers when you do that, because when they finish Country Heat, if you sold them a program and never checked in with them in 30 days, and they're ready to transition on to something else, well, they're kind of left clueless, like, what do I do? You have an opportunity to build that relationship, build that trust, and then maybe even ultimately they become a coach too. So the other thing is 3 social media posts a day and making my journey a priority. This is one that I think as coaches, we get so overwhelmed by all of the notifications that we see. We're in every group known to man on Facebook, and we go on there and we're just like deer in headlights. What do I do first? And if you are focusing on being proof of the product, you are going to have credibility with your network throughout the way. And being honest and sharing your journey is a huge part of that. Sharing the struggles and sharing the victories and just share it all, which is a little scary at first. And I would just encourage you not to overthink it. When you're doing your social media, just don't overthink it. Just speak from your heart, post, be done with it, and don't stress. If you're spending more than 5 minutes creating content for a post, you're probably overthinking it. So those are my daily non-negotiables, my monthly, and this has changed over time and will probably continue to change over time. But right now, my non-negotiables are Success Club 10 and signing one new coach every month and helping 1 to 2 of my personal coaches get their own Success Club points. Those are my monthly non-negotiables, and those have changed. When I first started, my non-negotiable was Success Club 5. In the past, since April, really, I've seen what having 10 does for my business. It's a lot of extra work, but it is what, if you are wanting to be full-time and be home and have your own career with Beachbody, Success Club 10 is where it's at. And I didn't understand why when I first started. I was watching all these coaches and listening to every coach wake up call I could get my hands on, and everybody was talking about Success Club, and I didn't see the value in it. And I said, but you know what? I've watched these coaches and they know what they're doing. So why should I not be following the steps of what has worked for other people in the past? And it has. Having that non-negotiable, literally it doubles my business every single month and doubles my relationships and doubles my network, because if I have happy challengers and happy relationships there, they're going to refer people to me, or they're going to say, hey, these people, and this is how Jen started, is she saw me wanting size and she was like, well, I don't want my coach to get credit for that sale. And that's how the coaches start to watch you. So those are my non-negotiables.
Wow, that's amazing. It is intimidating, of course, but it's so great. So with all of that, and I mean, you're our mom. So what does your day look like physically, like hour by hour, not hour by hour, but what does your day look like? How do you do all that?
Okay, so in the next question, we're going to talk about how I did that when I was still working. But right now, I set my alarm for 2 hours before my child. Oh, are you serious? Hold on. My husband has it synced to our computer, and so.
Mine too.
Anyway, sorry about that. So 2 hours ahead of time before my child gets up, assuming he stays in bed as long as he's supposed to. But I have to have that guaranteed 1.5 to 2 hours before he wakes up that I can invest in my business. So if the whole rest of the day goes to crap, I know that I have done at least most of my daily actions before the whole day gets on. Throughout the day, I'm doing a little bit of messaging here and there. I'm going to be honest, I'm kind of struggling with learning the balance of being mom and not being on my phone 24/7, and that's still a huge struggle and something I'm working through. But I'm doing periodic messaging throughout the day, but then at the end of the day, 2 hours at the end of the day. So overall blanket time, probably about 4 hours of my day. And that's recent. It's not how it's always been, but right now that's what I'm doing.
Yeah, so that leads into our next question, which was how many hours do you spend in the day?
I think one of the questions was they wanted me to talk about how it was when I was juggling still working.
Oh, yes.
And there are a couple of really good national calls on this exact topic. So I would highly recommend going and listening with those. I had to get up really early when I was working. So I would get up at 5 a.m. or 4:30 or whatever that looked like for me in that day, to make sure that before I left for my corporate job, I had gotten in my invites and I had gotten in my commenting on people's pages and I had done what I was supposed to do. It also meant when Aiden went to bed, I had to sacrifice, and there was never, I cannot tell you the last time I watched TV. I don't remember. Netflix doesn't exist to me anymore. And that's
okay. For kids' cartoons.
Yeah, unless it was like Finding Nemo. I'm good with that. But when Aiden went to bed, it was game on. So from 8 p.m. to well after my husband was in bed, I was sacrificing sleep and to make sure that I could provide for our family. So yeah, when I was working, it was hard, but honestly, it's harder now that I'm home to try and balance being mom and wife and everything else, and a toddler who likes to get out of his bed.
Mr. Houdini.
Yes.
So I'm going to skip ahead from our outline, Rachel, but so how do you keep yourself organized? What tool are you using?
Yes. Okay. So this has been the game changer for my business right before Coach Summit. I floundered y'all. When I say flounder, I would sit down and look at my computer and say, okay, who do I talk to next? I would scroll my Facebook feed and say, okay, who do I talk to next? And that was wasting so much time. I mean, I had no direction. I had zero ability to follow up with people. I would forget about them because I had so many conversations going. Here's what I've done, and here's my encouragement to you. Find something that works for you and stick with it. If pen and paper is your thing, do it. It didn't work for me. If Excel is your thing, do it. It didn't work for me. Team Z, if you haven't tried a 30-day trial of Team Z, I highly encourage you to at least give it a try. You download your Facebook contacts so you don't even have to worry about that part of it. But for me, it literally has little circles and it tells me, okay, you have 4 people left to talk to. You have 2 people left to talk to. And I cannot go to bed without every circle being done because it just drives me crazy for one.
It even tells you to make sure you get your Shakeology, your workout, and your personal development in there. So
yeah, it was
amazing.
It was created by a Beachbody coach, and so it's designed to meet our needs.
Yeah.
It also the other thing that I really love about it is it tells you who to talk to. That's the piece of the puzzle that I was missing. It literally populates your friends list and says, okay, talk to so-and-so and so-and-so. And people I had no idea were on my friends list ultimately became customers because I started investing in new relationships. So I highly encourage finding a system that works for you and don't wait. Try something for 30 days, then move on if it's not working. Try something else for 30 days and move on and find what works for you, but you're gonna have to have an organizational system that can keep you on track because I wasted so much time scrolling. I mean, literally it's such a zapper of time. It's scrolling on your Facebook trying to find somebody to talk to. So Team Z is the answer.
It is. It's amazing. So social media. I know a couple people had some questions about what you're doing, what social media you're using. One, and we kind of talked about you're definitely in your cold market. So talk about your social media, adding value. Basically, what are you doing on your social media that has been so successful for you?
Okay. Yvette, I think I answered your question with the Team Z. That's how I figure out who to talk to because it also tells you how to schedule follow-ups. And so when I initiate a conversation with someone, I automatically set a follow-up for a couple of days later. So just there's that. Social media. Obviously, we know that people are watching. I briefly touched on not overthinking things. And here's where I'm going to say the big scary word, Facebook Live. This is a bandwagon that you are either going to have to choose to jump on or know that you are going to have to work twice as hard. Because here's the reason I love Facebook Live. And there's a business in town who asked me to write a blog post about Facebook Live. And I will share that blog post in Commit Group because it's such a good marketing tool for yourself. But you can create a personal relationship with someone and engage with your audience you would never have the opportunity to have if you didn't have that feature. That being said, engaging while you're on Facebook Live. So people jump on, you said, hey, Carrie, hey, Alice, hey, Annie, so good to see you. Hey, Carrie, how did that basketball meet go this week or whatever? You're engaging and getting people to talk in your Facebook Live. So that's the biggest thing. Number 2, so there's just 2 really, I would say. 1 is Facebook Live and 2 is comment and respond on every single thing that you put up. So if you put up a picture of your child and you get 4 people that say how cute your kid is, you better go and comment on all 4 of those people's, not just like it, like literally respond because it makes them feel like their opinion is validated and wanted and that their feedback is encouraged. And so that just builds trust with your network and builds trust with the relationships that you're working on behind the scenes. Now at this point in the game, because I've been intentionally building those relationships behind the scenes, the people that are commenting on my profile are now, even if they're not working with me, they're sending people my way. They're like, oh, so-and-so wants to lose weight, go talk to Rachel. Because they see I'm constantly in their feed because we're engaging back and forth. So that's my two biggest, I think, did I cover it? Oh,
I think that also works.
Yeah.
I think that also applies to when you're doing your challenge groups.
Totally.
One of the big things that Rachel and I do, in our challenge group is that every single person that comments, we comment, both of us, not just her if she's leading that month, or not just me if I'm leading that month, but we are both commenting on every single person that posts something in that group.
And I will say, I have not dabbled much in Instagram. I'm not good with that. I've followed Nate's philosophy, which worked really well to help build for a little while because I was trying to build my Instagram, but I have not been able to figure out the carryover from Instagram to Facebook. I'm still working on that. And that's a really hard transition, I feel like, to tackle. So I'm still intentionally growing my network on Instagram, but I'm just consistent with my posting, sharing content. I try not to share the same thing too much, and just being intentional with my hashtags. And that's about all I'm doing with Instagram. Like, I pretty much do my post and leave it there and respond to comments, and that's it. So I would just say pick one social media platform that is your jam and focus on that, and don't spend more than 5 minutes on the other ones. Like Megan, she's got an incredible Snapchat following. I don't have that. So I'm not going to spend hours of my day on Snapchat because that's not going to benefit me. It's really smart for her to do that because she's got a really big following. And Facebook is my jam. So I'm going to invest in Facebook because that's where I'm seeing my return. I'm not going to invest hours of my day in Instagram because I'm not seeing that yet. I don't want to forget about it, but I don't want to pour my heart into something that I'm not seeing the return on just yet. That will change, but for now, that's how I feel about Instagram. I don't know if Nate's on here. He's going to be like, you're missing out.
That's awesome, though. Okay, so you had an incredible August. And so if most of you did or didn't get a chance to see, Rachel's actually added 16 coaches in the month of August. So we want to know, how is that happening? What are you doing to convert your challengers to coaches so quickly?
I think there's definitely a couple of different facets to that. One is I've poured my heart into my business the last 6 months and investing in relationships behind the scenes when there was no return. Like, people told me no over and over and over and over until I was blue in the face and was so discouraged, but I kept pushing forward and knowing that those no's don't mean no. They mean not right now. And I never give up hope on anyone. And just because they tell me no, I still build that relationship. I still reach out and say, hey, how's your week? How did this go? And build that relationship constantly, which is why follow-ups in Team Z are so important. So coaches. If I am vibing with the person and feeling the conversation when they're ready to buy a challenge pack, I don't skip the discount coach portion. I say, okay, I go ahead and tell them before I even send them the email or the link, there's going to be an auto ship set up. And then I go ahead and break it down for them and say, I start by asking, have you tried shakes in the past? And do you enjoy drinking a shake as a supplement for a meal or things like that? If they say yes, then that's a good indication that I can lead and segue into a discount coach presentation. And I don't overthink it. If I'm feeling it, I go for it. I had a lot of those this month, that a lot of them are discount coaches. So out of the 16, I think only 3 are business builders. So if that gives you a perspective on what it looks like, although 16 coaches is phenomenal, and I'm so very, 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 very thankful. In the reality that only 3 of them are business builders. And I think there's nothing wrong with building your team of discount coaches, because those people, like, for example, I signed someone up last week and she just wanted Shakeology. She reached out to me today and said, okay, so since I'm a coach, can I earn some extra money? And from that point on, it's like she loves the products. It's game on. Now we're in business. And it just might take somebody a couple months to come around. I'll use my sweet girl Alice as an example. She was my first challenge pack sale. And she resisted the coaching opportunity forever and a day. And now she is on fire and passionate and loving the business. So I will say, don't ever discredit the discount coaches. And honestly, it's just the investing in people behind the scenes. When they feel that you care about them, and from a genuine place in my heart, I do care about their journey and I do want them to succeed. And that's never going to be something that I say on social media and not do the steps behind the scenes to make that happen. And if someone is struggling, I'm going to set an extra reminder in Team Z to say, okay, so-and-so said they were going to work out today. Let me look to see if there's a sweaty selfie. If there's not, I'm going to send them a message. And it's just taking the extra step and going the extra mile. As much of a time sucker as that can be, it is so worth it to build a team of people who care about you and who care about their journey and who care about the products. For me, I have a couple of dialogues that I use when talking about the discount coach opportunity. So I'll post that in the Commit Crew and Fit Life Warriors too. There's 2 scripts that I've been using as a response to people that have worked really, really well this month. And that's just a brand new thing that I've been doing this month. So I will be happy to share the exact verbiage so you can tweak it and make it your own.
That'd be awesome.
So did that answer your question, I hope?
It did. So we'll move on from coaches to the Success Club points. So, I mean, I posted it in both of our team pages. So we know you had a phenomenal month with not just adding coaches, but Success Club points. I mean, this was by far, last month you were at 17 points. This month, I think we're at 34 points you were for this month. So I think it was Megan who asked, is this your cold market? How are you getting these points this month? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, it's definitely a percentage. I would say genuine cold market, like very little to no relationship with someone, it's probably 15%. It's a very small number. The rest of them, a lot of them were challengers I've been working with for 6 months almost, who only bought the program and who have refused to do anything else. But I've still lovingly invested. Despite just that one little $15 sale 4 months ago, I've still been checking in with them weekly and still investing in that relationship. And so when an opportunity like the health bet came around, they said, all right, that was the extra push I needed. And so several of them were challengers, but the majority of them were people that I've been investing in for the last 3 to 4 months. So people that I've just been building a relationship with. And I will say in general, the number of contacts that I have to have in order to, from the time I say hi to the time that I get them to buy a challenge pack, is at least 20 different days worth of messaging, if not more. It's a lot. It's investing in people from the ground up when you're working on your cold market. You have to give them a reason to trust you. And this kind of goes back to social media. When you're thinking about the things that you're sharing on social media, you have to figure out what your market wants. And you have to figure out what your brand almost wants. And for me, I'm a mom of a young toddler who's a crazy pants. I love hair and makeup. I'm a girly girl. I like to cook and meal prep, and I just share that. But I'm adding value to people when they come to my page. So they come to my page to see if I posted a recipe. They come to my page to see if I posted a meal prep video or whatever. And whatever value looks like for you. It could be, I'm just going to use Jen's example. It could be photography tips, people who need help on how to find the right lighting or something like that. Adding value, there's you an idea. Adding value and giving people a reason to follow you. And giving free, I actually watched a video by Coach Tulin not long ago, and she posted, and she was talking about the health bet, and she was basically going off and saying there are 4 years worth of free content on this page this health bet is going to cost you money. And that struck a chord with me. It said, it took her 4 years to invest in her market for people to have free content and to have a reason to follow her. But gosh, look at where she's at now. It obviously was worth it. And so adding value to your page. And I've had more people message me because of my silly meal prep videos than I have about anything else. And you know what actually does better than my meal prep videos? My hair tutorials. So, you just got to figure out what works for you, and it's going to be different for every single person, because my market is not going to fit right for Jen. It's not going to fit right for Yvette. We're all different, and that's what's so cool, is that we get to create a business that we want, with people that we want to do it with, and just be us. So there's that.
I love it. Thanks for that idea there, Rachel.
Yeah, no problem.
So what has been the biggest struggle? What's the biggest thing you've struggled with?
Hearing no, for sure. So you're going to hear no day in and day out, and you have to put a guard around your heart and not take it personally. And that is so hard to do in this business. And it's so frustrating when you're at the end of the month and you see, oh my gosh, I'm at Success Club 7 and I got to get 10. There have been months where down to the wire, it has been 9:50 on the last day of the month. And I'm like, there's like fire coming from my feet.
Smoke. You got smoke.
Smoke. No, not even smoke, fire. and you're going to hear no. And I will say let's say I send out 15 invites, one of them might be a yes. Like, you have to realize that that's going to come, but every no is just a not now. And so those 14 no's you just heard, this next 3 months you're going to spend investing in those 14 no's. And guess what? I would put money on at least 8 of them coming around and saying yes at some point. So people just have to trust you. They have to want to work with you, and you have to provide value to be you have to be wanted. You have to meet somebody's needs, and you're going to hear no. So hands down, hearing no and learning to juggle it all. And that piece of the puzzle, I'm still learning. Like that, if you see my social media, please don't ever think I have it all together, because I really don't. Like, if you could see my plate, I'm in my basement sitting on a couch cushion because our house was on the market and I don't have a desk anymore. So I'm looking, and I have a whole room full of toys all over the place. And that's just life. I don't have it all together. I don't have it all figured out, but I do know that investing, making my business a priority, and stopping my excuses of why I wasn't going to be capable of reaching those goals is what was the turning point for me.
That's awesome. You're doing so good. I'm so proud of you. So this is the last question, and then we'll kind of open it up to everybody for, if anybody else has any questions. But what advice would you give to a new coach or a veteran coach? Like, what's the thing that you want to say?
It's not going to be an instant gratification business. You are going to hear no, and you're going to hear no a lot. And there's going to be a lot of struggle that goes on, particularly that first year. And that's something that I have literally clung to. I have heard top coach after top coach say, if you can make it through the first year, then you will be able to make it through the long haul. Doesn't mean it's always going to be easy and people are going to flock to you. It just means that you will know the tools by that point to know what you have to do to be successful. So instant gratification that's not the type of business we're in. You're going to feel that reward when people reach their goals, but sometimes those no's get really discouraging. And here's my biggest tip, and this is really hard for some people to do. And Jennifer and I had recently just had a conversation about this. I have literally put blinders on for the last 4 months. I love all of you, but I have blocked all of you from my I don't follow a single coach. They're friends of mine, but I don't look. If I'm liking your page and stuff on your page, I intentionally went to go to make sure that I care, because you're part of my team too, and I want to invest in this crew also. But I don't want coaches stuff popping up in my feed because that's not my network. That's not my cold market. So I literally have put blinders on because the comparison game in this business is overwhelming. And it sucks, just to be honest. And because you feel like you have to fit a certain mold, you feel like you have to look a certain way, you feel like you have to produce a certain way and have X amount of coaches and X amount of points. And we are all different. And we are all going to have our own ups and our own downs. And having blinders on for me has been the thing that has kept me on track. I still go and I look at top coaches' pages, but I don't do any of that until I'm done with my dailies for the day. So if it's 11 o'clock and I finish my stuff, I'm not going to go look at any of y'all's pages. But if it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon and I finished everything, then I'm going to go see what everybody's up to. Because it's good to have inspiration, but there's a line in comparing yourself to what someone else is putting out there. And oh my gosh, she just did 12 live videos in one day. Why? I guess I need to do live videos. And she's doing meal prep, saying, oh my gosh, I got to do meal prep. That's not. No. Put blinders on and be you. Be authentically you as much as you can possibly be. And the people will come. I think that's where, I don't even like to call it success, because I just have had blinders the past 6 months. I've just said, God, guide my steps and know that I'm going to trust in the direction that he's taking me, and it will pay off. And it has, because I've not let the distractions of the world, the distractions of Facebook. And I'll say this, if you have time to scroll on Facebook, you have time to go send out 5 more invites. And that's harsh. But the reality is that, Megan, I keep getting distracted by your cat. The reality is that scrolling is a time zapper. So use it as a reward. In the beginning, I used it as a reward. When I finished my daily stuff, I would go on Facebook and enjoy seeing what my friends were up to and things like that. But I never did it until after my daily tasks were done, because it was a waste of my time. And I still catch myself scrolling aimlessly and like, what am I doing? No, focus. It's like having ADD. So I would just say put blinders on and be you, and be good with being you. Like, find a personal development that you jive with and you struggle with, and get there and do it and get it done. So yeah, put blinders on. That's what I would say to a new coach.
That's
and actually one more thing.
Yeah.
This actually, Nate said this I don't know which group it was, because there's like 100, I feel like now. He said being overwhelmed is a choice. And that like hit home for me. I was like, oh snap, that got me like super uncomfortable, because it's very easily in the comparison game to feel very overwhelmed that you're not living up to XYZ expectations. But in reality, being overwhelmed is a choice. We all have the same to-do list. We all have the same whatever steps we need to do to make it where we want to be, but being overwhelmed is a choice. So that I would just leave that, and not to be ugly about it, because trust me, there are days like this week with my child climbing out of the bed and us having to transition that, I've been really overwhelmed and have lost direction a little bit this week, because I was just struggling to balance my life. But I just am trying to remember being overwhelmed is a choice. So that's the last one.
Awesome. So we want to open it up to everybody on the call and see if you guys have any questions for Rachel tonight.
I think Yvette had posted one in the commit crew.
Okay.
Yvette said, what do you do when there are people you've sent the enrollment to, or even say they are ready to take the challenge, stop replying to you? That's where having an organizational system is crucial, because if you let more than 24 hours go by when you've sent that enrollment info and you haven't touched base with them, it's no longer going to be a priority for them. The urgency, when they say yes, the urgency is then. If you have to give them 2 hours to fill it out, you go ahead and send a follow-up message. And then realizing, don't take it personally when people don't do it. And stop responding to you and ignoring you. And I have a very perfect situation where I had a girl who said, yes, I'm all in. Ignore. Literally 8 messages where she did not respond at all. But over the course of several weeks, I just texted her, hey, how's your week? Hey, I saw the kids went back to school. Hey, this, hey, that. And after 8 times, she finally said, I really appreciate you never giving up on me. Emotionally, I wasn't ready to start. I'm ready now. And it took that amount of time. And it seems like a lot, but it is worth it because those people know you care. Because sometimes people just aren't brave enough to be able to reach out to you, which is why we invite, because the reality is you're not going to have 15 people who comment on your transformation post that said, oh my God, please teach me. That's just not the way it works, unfortunately. Maybe when you're a top coach, that'll be how it is. So Megan says, I'm so nervous to keep following up and follow. I know it's scary, but so is inviting. Inviting is scary too. But just think, you don't know what's going on in that person's life. They might just need a friend, and you're that opportunity to be that person that doesn't know them, and they need another friend that they can talk to. And you saying, just don't do it in an aggressive way. Just say, hey, how's your week going? Or go, a lot of times I'll go to somebody's profile and then it jumps memory and say, oh, I got a message, Rachel, back about the TEAMZY. Yeah, I would highly recommend trying it out for 30 days, because the first 30 days are free, and then after that it's $30 per month, which seems pretty steep when you're first starting out. But the organization, like I put that into place the month before we left for Summit, and then have not looked back since. And it's been life-changing. I really believe that. So,
yeah, and Rachel and I also put that into play with our team cup this month, and we asked each of our team members to also use that to help them. So that was good.
Yeah, or at least consider doing it.
Mm-hmm. Anybody else?
And I do want to say this. I really don't want to come across, and I told Jennifer when she asked me to do this, my biggest fear was to come across cocky. Like I know what I'm doing, and I
right, Megan?
As success partners, I have said to her, this is a really good season for me, and it has been a lot of hard work that got me to where I am, but it's going to take a lot more hard work to keep me where I'm at, and it's going to be continuing the daily things that I know are working. So find what works for you and stick with it. But just know at the end of the day, the only one that's going to push your business is going to be you. And so for the people who want to do this full time, you have to take a step back, put your big girl panties on, and just say, okay, in the short term, how much is it worth in the short term to sacrifice to have a long-term future and career and life of success? Can you sacrifice those extra 3 hours of sleep? Can you sacrifice an hour of Netflix? Can you sacrifice whatever that looks like for you? Is it worth having the success long term? Because I can tell you, and I'm gonna share. Nate, yes, you can share something. Give me 1 second.
Annie.
Oh, Annie. Sorry.
It says Nate. It says Nate.
You threw me off. Okay.
I have to say I'm sorry that it says Nate. Nate and Khalees used to use my computer when they lived here in Williamsburg, and I don't know how to change it back to my name. So that's why it says Nate. But I am so proud of you two, and this call was amazing. And we need to make sure that our team hears this call, because you guys are just blowing this business apart, and I'm so proud of you. And I learned things tonight. I've been a coach for 6 years, and when I first started, I was gung-ho doing the same thing that you guys are doing, and I went through some struggles, and I kind of pulled back, and now I am so ready to get back in there and work hard. And everything that you shared tonight was just like really hit me in the heart, especially the putting the blinders on and not comparing yourself to other people, because, here I am further along than I am. And I'm where I am because of how much I put into my business. But the cool thing about this business too is it's so forgiving. You can pick up and you can start back up and you can just go for it. And I'm more excited now than I've been in a long time. And I'm just Like, I'm so proud of you guys. I just had to say that.
Thanks, Danny.
I mean, I'll be honest, Rachel and I are success partners, and I have been on the struggle bus because I've been without the blinders. I've been watching Rachel, and I've been seeing this success, and she is in my downline. And so it has been difficult for me. But you know what? Rachel she told me the other day she unfriended all these people, and I was like, did you unfollow me? And she was like, yeah, I did. And I was like,
how do you think I feel having Nate be in my downline? I mean, I am so blessed that my son finally opened his eyes and began to do this business, but he's like blown way past me, and I'm proud of him.
Yeah, me too.
But I also know that I can do it too.
Yeah.
And I just need to not compare myself, and that's so important.
Yeah, so same thing, right? I'm so proud of Rachel, and that's why I felt like we needed to do this call. She's figured it out for herself, and she had so much great advice to share that I'm learning from her now, and it's amazing. And she taught me that I can unfollow her, and we can still be family. If you didn't know, we were family.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so it's been, we just wanted to share it with everybody. So
yeah, and I will say I'm an open door, open book. If you need something or have a question or something sparks your curiosity, I mean, Yvette and I have had several conversations, and I want people to feel what I feel. I want people to, Beachbody has changed my life, and I would not be able to take to have these moments with my son if it wasn't for this opportunity. And I truly believe that this is the destiny for my family. And so if there's a single message or a tip that I can give that can give you that extra push to go the extra mile, to have the extra motivation to go there, then I want to do that for you. I could give a crap if you were in my downline or not. Like, whatever, we're family.
That's right.
So just know if you need something,
she can kick your butt too, because she's good at that. She's good at being real.
Tough love.
Yes. All right, guys, if nobody else has any questions, we'll go ahead and end tonight. Sorry for the long call, but we just wanted to bring it all to you tonight. So if nothing else, thanks, guys. And say good night.
Bye.
Bye.